Hey guys, welcome to TST Garage. I'm Bart, and today in this episode I will be walking you through the installation of our new TST Industries Mech-GTR signals on a Kawasaki Z650. So these are what I like to call a flush pod style signal. They are not flush mounts like what you see here. They are not pods like what you see here with the stock. They mount flush against the mounting surface but fire forward and don't stick out very much. Now our lens array is very sophisticated and it takes the one super high power LED light source and spreads it around so you're very noticeable, and the light emitted is very, very bright to the front and also to the side. These are very, very nice, well engineered. Even the fastening method is really simple to use. So you can see here we have this ratcheting ring that just ratchets right on from the back of the mounting surface and just zips right on, and you preload these little feet, and then that's pretty much it. You're done. If you find that your signal is still moving around a little bit and you can't preload these feet, you can use one of these included grommets. They're made of soft rubber and they increase the amount of friction you have between the locking element and the mounting surface. Backing out is pretty easy too. You just undo the ratcheting system and back it out. Not a big deal. For connection on a Kawasaki motorcycle, we do provide you with a Kawasaki OEM plug style harness converter. This actually has only 2 connectors. So if you're gonna use this as a signal unit only, which replaces a signal unit from the OEM setup, you will only need these components here, and that's included in the kit. Now, if you want to run a running light, this motorcycle is not equipped by the manufacturer to have a running light in the signals. Only Honda and Yamaha really do that. Kawasaki and Suzuki don't. So for those guys that really want to run a running light, we have this connection kit along with our running light modules that insert in here. And this kit will enable you to configure your signals to have a running light and connect it. It's a little bit more of a convoluted setup. If you like the OEM setup, not having running light, and you're okay just going with these 2, that's up to you. We'll show you both methods of attachment. So for that purpose, I will show you how to include this in your signal lamp. It's pretty simple. You just bend this wire over through the slot, get the signal wires through the slot as well, and seat that in there. It just clicks in into the signal body, clips in, this gets connected, and then you're good to go. These running light modules are available in a number of different colors. These are amber, but we have them in hyper white, soft white, lemon yellow, a whole bunch of different colors. Choice is yours if you're gonna run some sort of a running light system on this. If not, like I said, the installation is gonna be much more easier. So I think I'm pretty much done yapping here. Let's go onto the bike, let's disassemble it, and let's get wrenching. All right, in the first step here, we will be removing the windscreen. 4 screws need to be removed. 4mm Allen does the job. Let's go. They do come off with a washer on each, so retain that. Next, we will disconnect the main connector for our gauge cluster and remove these 3 fasteners using a 10mm socket. That will free this bracket here. So we'll remove that off the bike. Now that we have access here, we will find the connectors for the signal lamps. We can just follow the wires and find the boot that contains each one of these connectors. Press on the locking system to remove it. And again, remove the connector. Pretty simple. Now we can't actually get this job done without removing the headlight. It's a little bit easier in that you don't have to remove all these components, but then I'm not gonna be able to show you guys in detail exactly what's going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these 2 screws off using a 5mm Allen, and that will free my headlight. Right now I'm going to take the headlight off these bottom posts that go into rubber grommets down here, and I will find this connector that is responsible for operating these running lights here. It is held in by a dart clip. I'm going to remove this dart clip. Now I have some extra length of wire to work with here. Turn this connector around, find the lock, press it, unlock it, withdraw it, and here we have our main headlight plug. I'm going to slip this grommet off and unplug it. Just pull straight out. You actually don't need to take this grommet off. It does have a separate grommet that works the plug. Like I said, this is not entirely necessary. Once you guys grasp what I'm doing on the table, you should be able to perform this installation with all these components still in place. So let's head on to the table. The next step will involve removing the actual signals off this assembly. This is done by removing a screw from the retaining bracket on the inside here. Now there's an inner bracket that jams this signal stalk in place. Once you remove that, you could grasp, turn, and pull to the outside, and the signals just pop right out. I'll repeat the procedure on this side. All right, now we have a clean slate. We can configure our Mech-GTR signal with one of the harness converters. You need to find the red wire on the signal, plug it into the black wire on the converter, and then the yellow on the converter will plug into the brown on the signal. We'll go ahead and get these insulating sheaths locked in place with electrical tape. During vibration while riding, they can slip off, they can short to ground or to each other, and you can blow a fuse. You don't want that, so let's get these locked in place. Now, if you've decided to go with no running light, this is pretty much it. I would advise to just bend this back over itself, insulate that so it doesn't make contact with anything, then get it in here and fasten it down. We're actually going to try to put a running light system on these things, see what it looks like, and then you guys can judge if you want to go with a running light or no running light at the end of this video. So let's proceed to that. I'm going to empty the contents of the connection kit. I'm going to stretch out this wire. We've provided you 2 female bullet terminations with a length of wire. I'm going to slice this wire in half, making 2 pieces, 1 for each side. We are going to connect this female bullet to this male bullet, blue to blue. Have our insulating sheath over that and give it another wrap of tape just to keep it in place, make sure that it doesn't touch anything. We are going to be connecting it to a positive 12 source. It'll be hot anytime the motorcycle is actually on, so we want to make sure that doesn't cause a problem. We want it well insulated and locked that way. All right, so I have a nice neat package here. This is pretty much ready to go. We will need to grab one of our light sources for the running light. It comes configured like this. Get that wire down through that slot. Run the signal wires through that slot as well. This is keyed so it fits only one way, and when it gets into locked position, it has a little audible click. I like to wrap this wire around the main wire coming out of the signal for the purpose of strain relief, and this one gets wrapped in the opposite direction, and these connect together, and that's good to go. Now I will feed this whole wire scheme through here, through our mounting surface, and get the signal with the eyeball feature forward. And then I will try to lock it down with just a ratcheting clip. Hopefully we don't need the rubber grommet. You can see here I'm putting the springy feet on first. Those are the elements that preload against our mounting surface. And as much as I try to preload this, I think there's just not enough friction between these surfaces. These are all polypropylene plastic surfaces, so they are pretty slick. I'm gonna try this mounting with the use of our rubber grommets. That should alleviate some of that movement and dampen any vibrations that might happen during riding. So rubber on first, then this guy with the feet first. And we'll pass that rubber onto the signal body from the back side, and then get our ratcheting clips set in place, preload that connection, and there we go. Now we have a really good connection going. I'm basically just going to repeat these steps for this side. All right, so now we're left with pretty long wires. On the OEM setup, we have a pretty short wire that tucks away easily. This will need to be folded up and stowed away. Fortunate for us, we do have these nice wire management clips here that just sort of spring open. So we can make use of those and hide some of this wire away in between these two. I want to bring your attention to this component here. There's a circuit board in it that drives the circuits on the actual signal and running light side, so make sure that this does not get stressed. I like to suspend it in between these two routing guides. Then you just need to make sure you know which side is which. So right now I am working with my right hand signal. I'm going to leave it coming out the right side here just for ease of hooking it back in. I'm going to get it around this wire loom here so I have it on the right side of the motorcycle. And same on this side. Now we have these two wires that will need to connect to some sort of a switched and fused 12-volt supply. Now, lucky for us, we have this plug that's feeding the two running lights up above the headlight, and each one of those sides here contains a red wire that is that sort of a connection. So what we'll do now is get one of our posi-tap connectors that come with the kit, get it around the wire that we're trying to connect into. It does have a piercing element in here. Once you thread it onto this connection, it will pierce through the insulation and make the connection for us. And just make sure you don't cross thread it. It goes in on an angle and you don't make a good connection. It can actually come off during vibration. All right, I think I have it good here. I'm gonna remove the little cap. This cap is used for connecting this wire here. I'm just gonna slice off a little bit of it, making sure that we still have enough length here. I'm going to remove about 3/8 of an inch of the insulation, pass my cap over this connection, and now let's see if I have proper length here. Once you start screwing this in, you have to make sure that no conductor is showing, and as you can see here, I have some copper showing, so I'm going to need to shorten my wire. It's sticking out too much. This is really meant to conceal within this red cap. So I'm going to shorten it so we only have about 1/8 of an inch protruding, and try to twist that in again, thread it in rather. Now it looks like I have a proper connection and no exposed conductor, so we're good to go. I'm going to repeat the procedure for this side. All right, now that's all looking good. I'm going to make sure one last time that all my wire is properly distributed. I don't have any bulk sticking out anywhere. My right and left connectors are ready to go. I'm actually going to plug this guy back in here. The dart clip is going to go back in its keeper, and we can go back onto the bike, plug everything in, and test, make sure we got all the connections right. So first on the bike will be a reconnection of the actual headlight, 3-plug configuration. Then we'll get this plug in while we seat the whole assembly back on the grommets. Make sure it clicks. And for now, so it's self-retaining, I'm gonna get these screws in. Just get them threaded in by hand, start the threads, and we'll plug in the signals and see how we did. All right, so we do have a little bit of the running light coming out through here as an accent. As you can see, it's not a very significant amount of light. At night, in the dark, this will be a nice little accent, but you have to ask yourself if this is worth the extra trouble for you. If it's not, just go ahead and get the simpler kit. If it is, you know how to do it now. All right, let's see if the signals work. There we go. And they are going nuts. We have a hyper flash situation where the bike is flashing much faster than the OEM 85 cycle per minute rate. This is because we've changed the OEM incandescent light bulb to an LED type signal, and that is a typical symptom of what happens when you do that. To combat that, you may want to install an LED flasher relay. We do have one of our own systems available for this bike. Looks like this, plugs in place of the OEM relay under here, under the key. We do have a separate video showing you how to install that, so please find that if you're interested in that component. For now, I'm going to power down and tighten down these two screws using a 5mm Allen, and then just basically go in the reverse order of disassembly until the bike is back together. All right, guys, I think this took about 15 minutes. Probably would take less if I didn't yap so much. Anyhow, these really speak for themselves. They're nice and bright, really stylish, very techy look. Hope you agree with me. If you do, check out tstindustries.com where you can get more info and get them ordered online. And if you do want to get more info about slowing down that flash rate, we do have a separate video showing you how to install this under the key area here. So look for that on our YouTube channel or on our website. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.